Alright guys, so Storm is still furious about being ambushed by the other storm gods, and she's not letting it slide. But before she can even process what happened, Thor pulls up with a heavy warning. The very first storm god is returning, a force so powerful that even the god of thunder himself isn't sure that he can stop it. And just when you thought things couldn't get any worse, Storm's caught up in some real-world heat, under investigation by the FBI and facing serious jail time. Welcome back to Keepin' It Comic, and today, we're diving into Storm issue number 8. Now this starts off with Storm and her battle armor, and she says, "I am Storm, mistress of the elements. Ever since I was a child, you have spoken to me like a mother," whispers sweet words into the ears of her weeping little one. "I am grown now, mother. I am a child no longer. These storm gods have hurt you, but by my power, I make you whole again." And we cut over to Brazil, where we see Black Panther and Tony having a talk. And Tony says, "She did it. Don't worry, T'Challa. I'm sure your anti-cloud seeding cannon did something too." Black Panther's like, "Look, we worked on the cannon together, Tony. It was your idea to use," and Tony cuts him off. "Is it really my idea if it doesn't work? Wanna go say hi to Storm?" Black Panther's like, perhaps another time. I'm in a hurry. I have a great evening planned with Emma Frost." And Tony says, "Touche." But we jump back to the Amazon rainforest, where Storm is finishing her actual mission. She says, "The cremated remains of the pilot and the Devourer. Dr. Voodoo, as a necromancer, should be able to distinguish the remains so the pilot can be laid to rest with his family." And Thor's like, "Ororo, whatever thou does to prepare Midgard, do it quickly. For in my travels, I have learned a great deal about our kind. Before Zeus, before any of the storm gods, there was another." Now really quick, if you want to support the channel and get early access, behind the scenes stuff, or just help us keep this going, you can join the Keepin' It Comic fam right here on YouTube with our membership group by hitting the join button. Or you can go over to our Patreon, links in the description. It means a lot, and it helps us keep bringing you these breakdowns every week. We really appreciate it, but let's get back to it. And we get a flashback to the dimension of manifestations 1 billion years ago. Hadad, the first, he grew so mighty that he wove eternity into his cloak and forged death into his war club. The Phoenix Force was his armor, and infinity was his shield. By then, none could defeat him but one, the one above all. And in the far reaches of the universe, the near future, Hadad will return in the days to come, and with him, a horde of rot storms. And we see Silver Surfer battling someone, and he says, "Rock Blizzard, spew Galactus out." But Thor, he continues with his warning. He says a civil war brews across pantheons. Storm gods against storm gods. A thunder war. Those who seek to stop Hadad and those who seek to hasten his return rage against one another. The storm guard who attacked you, I don't know which faction they belong to, but I am certain they will be back when you least expect them to. But when they do, armor up, unsheath your blade, summon me with this, and together we shall make them rue the day that they made an enemy of Ororo Monroe. And she's like, "Nah, I'm good. Thank you, Thor. But when next I meet my attackers, they will be the ones who will need to summon for help." But 3 days later, at the Storm Sanctuary, the warrior our universe has chosen to fight, and its steed trembles and cold sweats, not for the battle to come against Oblivion. She fears not the looming threat of the Thunder War, but at the summon of her nation's government. Ororo Monroe, the goddess shudders, like sharks to blood, like bees to sweet nectar. The government only beckons when a grave error has been made and the day for reckoning is due. After all, the greatest weakness of the spectacular is the bureaucracy. And we skip over to the Federal Bureau of Investigation headquarters, where Storm has just come through a portal. And who's that in the yellow, you might think? Well, that's none other than Manifold, whose real name is Eden Fessy. He's not your average teleporter either. He bends space itself to move people anywhere in the universe. He says, "I have a bad feeling about this, Storm." And she responds, "Where's your sense of optimism?" And he says, "If you change your mind, just give the word, and we'll have an army standing with you. Say the word, and we'll kindle a second Krakoan age, one that is not announced by the whisper into the mind of humanity. but won by deafening thunder. And she says, they will have to work harder than this if that is their goal, because every inch of this nation, of this planet, is as much as ours as it is theirs. We are here to stay. And we get a glimpse of two guys in suits. The one on the left? Well, that's not a villain from Doom Patrol. That's one of Orcus's twisted creations. A walking science experiment with a fetus for a face, probably running on pure biotech and bad vibes. And the other one is your typical Orcus goon. High-tech muzzle, low creep vibes, probably takes orders from Nimrod and thinks genocide is a science policy. But anyway, Storm says keep the sanctuary safe while I'm away, Eden. And make sure Maggot stays out of trouble. And man, he's already starting trouble. He's in the middle of, I guess you would call it, a ring for this place, and a whole crowd of people watching him while he's being introduced. The announcer says, in the black corner, weighing in at a beep ton of pounds, wearing the coolest, coldest costume on this side of the universe, the unstoppable devourer, the blue-skinned Zulu titan of destruction, jacked up the Ripper, Maggot. And you can see he is failing this intro. Eden's like, what the? I wasn't even going for a minute. Storm is gonna kill me. And this guy says something in scribble. And he's like, I hear you, Master. But if this is Maggot's way of facing his fears and preparing for the battle to come, he might die before the real battle begins. And it looks like he is about to be in a serious free-for-all with a gentle, She-Hulk, Juggernaut, Big Bertha, Strong Guy, Armor, and Abomination. Man, I'd love to be there for that fight. But while Maggot has often wrestled with restraint, Storm's struggle with claustrophobia has been a tale as old as time. Storm is the host of the physical embodiment of our universe. Her need for space and dreading the lack of it is expected, if not predictable. Interrogation rooms thrive on this fear, with walls that close in on hope and a sense of judgment. But not this one. This room was designed to make Ororo feel small, minuscule, inconsequential. And then we get this alien-looking creature that says, hello, my name is Special Agent Fabi. I would like to ask you some questions. Behind the two-way mirror, we have an independent observer from the Office of National Emergency, Agent Ludfisk. And I'm sorry if I butchered that name, but that's a little difficult for me. But anyway, he says, but I'm sure you can already sense him with your powers. Remember, at any point during the questioning, the Fifth Amendment is always available to you. So do not feel pressured to give me an answer at all times. If I stood the risk of 5-year sentence in a supervillain correctional facility, I would choose my words carefully too. However, your answers, or lack of thereof, will be considered during the course of our investigation. Hold up, didn't you just say she should use the Fifth Amendment and probably not say stuff and it wouldn't be used against her? But then you went and said that not answering would be used against her too. Yeah, sounds like a typical lawyer. But he says, lastly, I'm originally from a planet with more nitrogen-rich atmosphere. So pardon me if I sometimes inhale from my nitrogen tank while we discuss. Shall we begin? And someone should probably tell him you can't smoke or vape in a government building. But he says, what are your emission policies for the Storm Sanctuary? She responds, the Storm Sanctuary was built by basically Tony, Moon Girl, and Shuri to emit no greenhouse gases. I have the certifications issued by S.H.I.E.L.D. here as proof. The hover thrusters during the day also emit a light identical to solar rays, so we never impede anyone's access to sunlight. We've seen far too much of how poorly the powerful and the wealthy treat the masses. We continually do our best to not make the same mistakes. He skips right to the chase. He says, are you a fugitive? You are famously a former thief on the streets of Cairo. You wear it like a badge of honor. So I ask you, have you faced punishment for your past crimes? Do you see the need to submit yourself to the working legal system? Storm sighs. She says, I'm happy to provide you with answers. However, my relationship with the Egyptian criminal justice system is not the prerogative of the United States. He says, I can play that game. I would need a report of your activities within the last 6 weeks. She says, The Impossible City reports and files my missions with the Avengers, but I did bring over full reports of my solo undertakings. He says, this is very impressive. Carrying out this many heroic missions within 6 weeks, the lives you have saved will be internally grateful. However, I would like to know more about the activities where you were not the hero, but the victim. And I'm not talking about your recent visit to Doomstadt. You've made it abundantly clear that whatever happens outside of this country is beyond our jurisdiction. So let's start off easy. Have you been kidnapped within the last 6 weeks while you were in the United States of America? She says no. He says, we feared you would say that. We believe you were recently under psychic influence, and your memories of the event may have been telepathically altered. She responds, I'm immune to telepathy. We long discovered my friends Gambit and Jubilee are immune to telepathy because of the latent energy that's always surging through their bodies and brains. I endeavor to always maintain the same to keep myself immune from the telepathic control. He responds, do I have your permission to examine this hypothesis of yours? He takes her hand as she says, you may. He walks away then saying, I'm sorry for taking so much of your time. The telepathy simulation machine is right next door. The procedure would only take 5 minutes. And Storm stands up pissed. This isn't real. He says, excuse me? She responds, this isn't real. This moment, after you held my hand, it isn't real. Greater beings have tried to invade my mind and failed. And Bro puts one hand up and sends her crashing into the wall while laughing. He says, so you harbored the fugitive Charles Xavier and assisted his escape off-world of your own free will? What did you think was going to happen? The streets of Cairo all over again? There were consequences for one's actions in the adult world, in America, in my America. And just then, 3 of these goons barge in right behind her as he pulls a gun out. Aurora Moreau, you were under arrest for the obstruction of justice. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. And oh man, what a crazy read. I just gotta say, they are not messing with Storm at all. Her gearing up for revenge got me hyped. But now I'm wondering, whose side were those other Storm guards even on? And how the hell is her dad gonna be stopped? Man literally wore eternity as a cloak, turned death into a side piece, rocked the Phoenix Force as armor, and used its Finity as his damn shield. At this point, Storm's gonna need to do more than lightning. She might need to unplug the whole multiverse and plug it back in. But hey, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button. It really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss a breakdown. Want to keep the convo going? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're always reading and replying. And if you're looking to connect with the community, hop in our Discord, follow our socials, and check out our merch. We've got all the links below. And as always, thanks for kicking it with Keeping It Comic. I'll catch you on the next one.